The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining our webinar today on increasing your ROI on Wi-Fi products. With me here I have Chetan Hebale. He's our Senior Director of Product Management and he's a really smart guy. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the text box on the right and we will answer them throughout the presentation and again any last minute questions at the end. So without further ado, here's Chetan.
Hey Colin, good morning, and thank you for the introduction. Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. Thank you for joining us on our webinar today. Today we're going to talk about the case for the indoor home router, and specifically the case for an ISP managed indoor home router. There are obviously many choices out there in the world, in the world of home routers. And what we're going to focus here is how does it benefit an ISP to go indoors and deploy a home router, or how does it benefit a managed services provider to go in and deploy a home router for customers, and basically focusing on those factors that either save you money or save you cost in your capital expenditure, or give you an option to create a recurring line of revenues. Before we kind of go into the product detail and what possible options are there, if we step back and look at what's going on in the home, right alongside the growth of Wi-Fi in our offices, hotels, resorts, and in public Wi-Fi, there's been an explosive growth in the home Wi-Fi sector as well. According to the Wi-Fi Alliance, there's a 15+ billion devices that are expected to ship by the end of this year. There are over 6.5 billion installed base of Wi-Fi devices, and by 2019, the number of devices in our homes that's expected to connect to Wi-Fi is going to be over 10 billion. So as you can see, everything here is in billions. Things are expected to grow and scale. And as it's the experience in many of us in our daily lives, we see that most devices that come with connectivity today come either with Bluetooth or Wi-Fi connectivity. So as this explosion of Wi-Fi devices happens, there's obviously lots of choices out there in the world. People can buy their own home routers, Wi-Fi access points, or companies, for example, Comcast or other service providers, are now bundling Wi-Fi router capabilities along with their streaming media capabilities. So when you put yourself in the customer's shoes, a customer of an ISP, really what they're looking for is internet access when they sign up for broadband service. And so really in their mind, access to internet content is a combination of the ISP providing them broadband service and them getting on their Wi-Fi in their house and getting on the internet. At some point, if they can't get on the internet, it's really just seen as an issue that the ISP needs to solve. And very often that results in support calls for ISP. So when you look at that simple equation at the top, as you access the content, really what we find over and over again anecdotally and in our own research, and when you read up research reports, is that consumer home Wi-Fi router is often the weakest link in the chain. It's often untested by the ISP because there are different varieties. Consumers buy their own Wi-Fi routers, and so the ISP often has to deal with very different Wi-Fi routers in different consumer settings. Very often these routers are not upgraded. The security on them is very low. And then often because of that lack of upgrade, either feature, functionality, or performance starts to degrade over time because they're running outdated software. So really what it amounts to is that the ISP can come in and provide great broadband service up to the door, but at the end of the day, the consumer experience is very weak because these Wi-Fi routers are sitting in the middle with causing a lot of unknown issues to an ISP. So what we're seeing over and over is consumers sign up for broadband, but really they're expecting complete end-to-end service inherently. And this is borne out by our own research. When we surveyed our ISPs, we found that over 60% of the calls to our wireless ISPs is often for in-home wiring issues or in-home routing issues, Wi-Fi issues. The ISP has no control over these issues. And so all the ISP can do is solve these issues up to the door and say whether their service is good or not. And that still leaves the consumer unhappy. So the end result is consumer dissatisfaction because they, at the end of the day, cannot get to the internet at the speeds that they want. So all of this makes for the case for an ISP managed home router. What consumers are looking for is, at the end of the day, worry-free service to the internet. And according to a survey from Excel Air, this is a $6.5 million managed home Wi-Fi opportunity. According to that survey, over 20% of the survey respondents were willing to pay at least $4 per month for an ISP to deploy the Wi-Fi, manage the Wi-Fi, and take the Wi-Fi off their hands. For the ISPs, on the flip side, this creates some opportunities as well. It allows them to increase their customer satisfaction, reduce customer support and troubleshooting costs, and harvest additional sources of revenue. And specifically, we're going to talk about that in the next couple of slides on how the home router gives the ISP a way to extend their service indoors and create additional lines of revenue. So stepping back from Cambium, if you think of internet access, Cambium is one of the few companies that can offer an end-to-end wireless fabric. We call it wireless fabric from 2 meters to 245 kilometers. We're able to offer to WISP long-distance point-to-point solution, long-distance last-mile access solutions like our ePMP or PMP 450 line of products, and then drop that down at the edge with access to homes, public hotspots, enterprises, and industrial Internet of Things through our Wi-Fi cnPilot line of products. All of that managed with one single pane of glass, the CN Maestro management. And what we're going to focus on this webinar is that last segment, the home. So we're going to talk in this webinar about how cnPilot home products help ISPs in bridging that customer satisfaction gap, what options they offer to ISPs to get in the home and offer Wi-Fi service. And we'll talk about a couple of key features that help them make the return on their investment. Before we launch in that direction, just a quick refresher. Last week, in addition, we announced a major addition to our Wi-Fi family, both on our enterprise side and on our home and small business side. We talked about cnPilot 2.0. We announced two 802.11ac Wave 2 products on the enterprise side, the E410 and the E600. And we announced the availability of the E512 and the E501S, which is our integrated sector outdoor product, IP67 grade product, and an integrated sector 30-degree product. We also announced R190, which is our indoor home router. And in addition, all of that managed by the same management controller across enterprise, home, and our wireless backhaul. So in this presentation, we'll focus on the home routers, the R200, the R201, and the R190. Specifically, we offer three options to our customers. We offer the R190, which is a budget class entry-level home router. It's a 802.11n single band Wi-Fi router with optional SKU that offers you VoIP ATA capabilities through two FXS ports. So that allows you to connect your analog telephone into your home router, and that gives you analog telephone adapter capabilities. In addition to that, we'll continue to have the R200, which is a single band Wi-Fi product with ATA, but the R200 comes in an option called the R200P, which allows you to power another another ePMP subscriber module on the roof. In addition to that, we've got the R201. That's our 802.11ac dual band Wi-Fi router with ATA port, and that also comes with an option to do a PoE out, so you can power the SM on the roof. The R190, which we announced recently, comes in two options, either as a Wi-Fi only router or as a router with Wi-Fi and analog telephone adapter capabilities. It is IPv6 capable, like all of our cnPilot home products, and in addition to that, it is cloud managed or can be locally managed by a free cnMaestro manager and controller. In addition to that, it's TR69 capable, and we've really kept the price low on these, keeping them very budget class. It's $40 for the managed Wi-Fi router and $60 for the router with ATA port. If you look at the home router itself, it's really four things that we're bundling together in the home router. It's got a PoE port that will allow you to power an ePMP subscriber module or an ePMP CPE that brings you the internet service to the home on the roof. Or it allows you to connect, it comes with 4 LAN ports, a USB port, it comes with 2 ATA ports, and a Wi-Fi router. The way this router is deployed, as we've been alluding to before, this router can power the SM on the roof, and the advantage is both the SM or the CPE on the roof and the Wi-Fi router can all be managed by the same management system called cnMaestro. So the benefit here is that because it's a single manager, you get end-to-end visibility, and we'll show you some screenshots of what we mean by that end-to-end visibility a couple of slides down. It allows the ISP to put these home routers in the house and leave these home routers to subscribers, so that creates an additional line of revenue. It allows you to create a recurring line of voice over IP revenue because these come with ATA ports, and there are many cloud-based voice over IP providers that will allow an ISP to offer the service while they host the equipment and provide the actual voice service. So that allows an ISP to take dollars that otherwise would have been going over the top to other service providers like Vonage or others, and then take and create a new line of revenue. And what that means to customers is that now an ISP can make an offer to bring in service, come in with the home router, and so as soon as the service is ready, you've got internet access in the house. Otherwise, this often is a two-step dance where the ISP brings in the internet service up to the door, and then the consumer is left to fend for themselves, to go out, buy their own routers, set them up, and hook them up to the ISP's broadband connection. So it takes all of that pain out of the equation and gives the customers a ready-to-go internet service. So before we go into our next phase, let's just pause here for a second and see if we have any questions, or if there are questions that the audience would like us to address as we go along.
Yep, there are no questions at this very moment, but I encourage you guys, whoever is watching, to definitely ask them as you see fit.
Okay, thank you.
We're getting a response saying, so far, you're doing a pretty clear job.
Thank you. And again, feel free to type those questions in the window, and we'll pause and answer questions. So before we launch into what features bring you the return on investment, one of the things on which the whole cnPilot family, both our enterprise Wi-Fi and our home Wi-Fi is really based on what we call frictionless operations, adaptive architecture, and affordable quality. And we'll talk about what it means. This is the philosophy by which we're building these products. By frictionless operation, it means that we focus on features that make it very easy for someone to deploy the Wi-Fi and manage the Wi-Fi. By adaptive operations, these are features, especially specifically on our enterprise line of products, that make it very adaptive to different kind of enterprise networks, such as creating automatic transmit power control, automatic dynamic channel allocation, and all of these two things, frictionless operation and adaptive architecture, are tied together with our goal of affordable quality Wi-Fi routers. So as you've seen with the R190, one of our goals is to try and introduce products that really meet the budget needs of our ISP operators. And so with Wi-Fi routers priced at $40 and $60, we're following that philosophy of keeping it very affordable. So what do we mean by frictionless Wi-Fi? We talked about the Wi-Fi router in the house powered by, for example, a point-to-point link or a point-to-multipoint link, such as the ePMP. In that case, what you can, because we have the same single pane of glass management, we are now able to show on one screen a complete end-to-end view of the link bringing the internet service to the house and the Wi-Fi router, and along with that, seeing the clients that are accessing the Wi-Fi router. If you mix and match different companies' products in terms of bringing backhaul to the house and the Wi-Fi, now you have the ISP has to go to two management screens whenever they have to troubleshoot issues. But in this case, whenever there is a Cambium link bringing wireless internet to the house and the Wi-Fi router, we're now able to bring these Wi-Fi routers and the complete view on one screen. So what you see here is, in addition to the end-to-end screen, we also show you the client devices accessing the link by manufacturer type. We are able to show real-time scans that you can run, so in case there's any troubleshooting issues. So both of these issues are very useful for customer support. Both of these issues are very useful for customer support, in which case you can see that the clients can be identified by manufacturer make, and this is very useful because no consumer reports IP addresses or MAC addresses when they call in, and now customer support is able to see what the make and make of the model is. In addition to both of these features, we also support on our enterprise class the ability to see devices that are unconnected, and both on the home and the enterprise, we're able to do a layer 2 deep dive on the packet and capture the packets. Here's a screenshot, for example, of the Wi-Fi analyzer. You're able to run remote analysis and see how the spectrum looks inside the home. So this feature in itself is a very powerful feature. So we've had some anecdotal cases that we've heard from our customers where the Wi-Fi router was placed, for example, in a cupboard, and then when they complained about poor internet service, the ISP was able to remotely troubleshoot and see that the signal strength was really weak, and after some probing questions, they were able to decipher that the Wi-Fi router had been moved and placed inside a cupboard. So this itself saved, this feature just by itself saved the ISP the trouble of a site visit. And as you'll see later, because of the very low entry-level price on these routers, with just one site visit saved, you're now able to get your return on investment on these routers.
Hey, Chetan, before we move on, we do have a couple of questions here. Is there a timeline on when the speed test option will be available in the cnPilot home line?
Good question. We do have it in our pipeline of features to do, but unfortunately there is no immediate timeline that we are able to deliver that. Our goal is to try and make it available by the end of the third quarter, so sometime in the October and November. It's a plan of intent, and we hopefully can make that a committed plan in the next couple of months.
Great. Another one is I'm having a problem with the R201 running 4.3.1. So basically, the problem is that the 5 gig networks are not showing up in a scan from a 5 gig capable device. Is this a known bug, and is there a fix in the works?
No, unfortunately, we've not heard of this problem before. If you're running it on an R201 product, you should be able to see 5 gig. So I would request you to contact customer support, or if you've already contacted customer support and you have a support ticket, I'd like you to either post it on the forum or escalate it, and we'll take a look at it. Colin, are they able to reach you or in the event that they need to escalate and look at this problem?
Yeah, so when you post to the community, you'll get a response from a Cambium person pretty much within a day at least. You could also email sales at Cambium Networks as well as support at Cambium Networks, and that would take you to the proper channels as to getting your problems taken care of.
So just to summarize, we have not heard of this issue before, but we'll take a look at it. Please send us the details, and please post on the community as well, so we can see if others are having the same issue. That way you'll know. You might even get response from others in the community, and certainly our engineers directly respond on the forum as well. So that's another way to get very quick answers.
Yep.
Okay. So in addition to troubleshooting and debugging with that single screen of management and through Wi-Fi analyzer, the other thing we're able to do is all of these equipment are designed for what we call as zero touch. We call it zero touch, but it pretty much allows you to go place a router and not have to touch the router on site. So there is no fine tuning or other things that you need to do to these routers before you take them to the site. These routers can all be set up in cnMaestro before you actually deliver, and then the router can be delivered at a later time to the customer setting. Now, just by separating the activity of provisioning and installation from the activity of installing at a later time, what this means is you don't have to train all of your personnel in every aspect of the Wi-Fi. You can take the more expensive cost of training activities and centralize them with a few individuals, and then you can outsource or keep the installation activity to someone whose job it is to just make sure they follow the basics, and they don't need to know all of the configuration activities. So right there is money saved in training costs and added flexibility of potentially outsourcing the installation activity from the configuration and provisioning activity. When these routers are placed in the home, they can be turned on. They are by default designed to go to the cloud, or through a DHCP server, you can redirect them to your own management system. cnMaestro comes as a free software that you can run on your own Linux server. So in that case, you can redirect them. They'll contact the manager, pull in the config, and upgrade to the desired software load. So this zero-touch deployment model helps you save money once again in your activity. And of course, we talked about specifically about the Wi-Fi analyzer, but here is a screenshot of cnMaestro, one of our latest releases, and you'll see that there is a lot of information on the throughput, client, status, and on the channels. So you get all of this on one screen. And one of the key things is cnMaestro, unlike many management systems out there, is free on the cloud. So it's very easy to set up and get started. So we've talked about various features, some of the highlight features. We've talked about some of the capabilities of the boxes, like supporting IPv6. How does all of this tie together, and how does it help you make the return on your investment? So if you look at investment as two categories, one is money saved in daily operations. Another one is recurring line of revenues. So that's money coming in through your daily operations. And then the third one is reduced capex in terms of your initial investment in getting started. If you look at the first category, how these features help you save money, features like zero touch that we just talked about, features like ezDetect, which give you the single pane of glass end to end. They save you money in support costs. They save you money in troubleshooting. They also save you money in terms of the personnel that you need to train. And right there, very often with just the time you saved installing, it pays it in itself for the router. The other thing it does is these routers, because of their voice over IP capability, give you an additional potential source of income. We have many ISPs and wireless ISPs in the US who offer voice over IP service to their customers. And while not all of their customers sign up to get voice over IP through the ISP, it still allows them to harvest a percentage of their customers' wallet dollars that otherwise would have gone to some other ISP, some other voice over IP provider over their network. The other thing that many ISPs have been doing is they have ISPs that place these home routers for free in their customers' network because of the savings in operating cost. There are other ISPs who lease these routers to their customers anywhere from $4 to $9 per month. And then the third option is that when you look at the investment needed on any of these routers, these are very entry level in terms of the budget, but still pack a very powerful performance and feature set that gives you a functional Wi-Fi router. So all of these three factors tied together is how we help ISPs make money on your investment. Now, going beyond the product, one of the other things that you should always look at when you look at companies and products is that your relationship with the customer doesn't end when you install a router. And similarly, our relationship with you doesn't end just after because we've sold your router. Obviously, just like you heard the person now ask about an issue with the 5 gigahertz, there will often be issues with technology equipment, and you want to know that there is a company that is healthy and strong to support you behind it. With Cambium, we have a great support option. We have the forum that we just referred to recently. It's a great way to get support very quickly from engineers. In addition to that, we have traditional support, which allows you to open a support ticket and track issues that otherwise couldn't be answered by the forum. And of course, at the end of the day, you also have an option to contact our sales personnel or our channel partners who also many times offer support on these products. More importantly, what you see here is just the beginning of our investment in the home and home product line. We've announced some major upgrades on the enterprise product line, and later in the second half of the year, I expect to announce some major new products on the home side as well. And so what we have here is a team that is very experienced in Wi-Fi. Many of us come with a background of over 20 years in cellular and Wi-Fi product development. And so Cambium continues to invest in a continuous R&D cycle. So you can be assured that behind these home routers is a pipeline of new products that are being planned, software features that are being planned, and so the innovation will be continuous. And that's what has got us to where we are today with over 6 million radios shipped across all of our product lines. So before we log off, one quick recap. You can follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or various other social media sites. We post a lot of customer success stories. We encourage you to share your story as well, because that's how we know what works and what doesn't work. And of course, once again, we invite you to join the community, post your questions, post your thoughts on this. We do not censor or do anything as far as content goes here other than for language. So please share your knowledge and help other community members, help us continue to improve our product.
Yep. Great, thanks, Jayden. And we do have a few more questions that came in over the last few minutes. So one of them is related to this actually, and is this webcast going to be posted to YouTube? And the answer is yes. We'll be doing that shortly after the session today, and we will also be taking that YouTube link and embedding it into our community page under both Wi-Fi, and we have an archive of all the webinars we've done over the past few years on the community. Another question is, do you have a recommended VoIP provider that configuration is simple and works well with cnPilot?
We don't have any particular VoIP provider that we recommend, but we do adhere to SIP standards. One VoIP provider that we worked with in the past, that our products have worked, is called OneVoIP. It's 1-VoIP, but that's just one of many that have worked. We also have service providers who've used Metaswitch, and our products have worked with Metaswitch as well. That also brings up an important point. We are planning to do a technology partner page on which we will post some of these providers with whom we have interoperated and tested sometime in the next 2 months. We are overhauling our marketing web pages. So as soon as that refreshment is done, we'll be coming with an update so you can come in and see who the VoIP providers that we support are. But in the meantime, these are two names that have often come across our desk, and we know our product works with them. So most VoIP products will work as long as they offer standard SIP-based VoIP service.
Great. One more. So the latest cnMaestro update added some excellent features. That's not a question. That's just a comment that someone posted. As well as this person noticed that when the router is set in bridge mode and the client IP device info doesn't show in cnMaestro, will there be an option where we can associate a client MAC address with a device name?
So the question is, if the device is set in client bridge mode, they are not able to see the client?
I think the question is they want to be able to associate a MAC address with a certain device name.
I see. I will have to look into this. So let me. I've noted your question here in the window. So let me take a look at that, and we'll get back to you. Either we have your email address that you've registered, and we'll probably post the answer on the community forum as well.
Okay. Let's see. Can I write scripts with Python to interact with these routers?
Not at the moment. These routers do have a CLI command based, but what we have coming down the future, and in fact it's in the beta version right now, are APIs. cnMaestro is providing APIs. These are RESTful APIs, and so when with these RESTful APIs, we will be able to interact with these home routers through cnMaestro's APIs. So right now that is in beta, so we urge you to try that out through signing up for the beta release, and that would be the way we would support them.
Great. So that's actually all of the questions we have for now. So if you have any last minute questions, definitely try and type them up real quick. I'll give one more plug for the community page, letting you guys know this webinar has been recorded and will be posted there. And there is where you could ask any additional questions if you think of them later, or if we just run out of time right here, right now. And can we have a link to the slides is another question.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is, Colin, after you post this on the forum, we will also make available our PDF on the forum as well. So please check on the forum and you'll see the webinar link, as also you will see the PDF of these slides posted on the forum.
Great. All right. Well, that's it. So thank you, everyone, for joining our webinar today. Thank you, Chetan, for giving the webinar today. So I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you, Colin, and thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for your time.